At Crypticon, let's give a warm welcome to Jake Busey and Dee Wallace. We can open it up to you guys. You want to take some questions and tell some stories, or however you want to do it, it works out. Is the mic loud enough for both of you?
When I was a young kid, had a little bit of a rough time getting into the activity of acting in films, and this is really hot. This mic is really hot. I just wanted to feedback bad. Anyway, so then I fortunately do this audition, and my agent tells me that it's for this director who's done this amazing independent film in New Zealand, and that he's now got a deal with Universal, and they're going to do this really high concept, scary comedy horror film. And I auditioned for it. I just was a flailing monkey in the auditioning room, throwing myself against the walls.
Peter would love that.
Yeah, and he was looking at me. He had his eyes were wide open, his mouth was wide open, and he was looking at me like he was watching the biggest rugby game in the world. And there's a scene in the movie where my head slides down a gravestone, so I throw myself against a wall, and I'm sliding down the wall and wind up in a heap and all this. So I find myself in New Zealand and land at the airport, and I meet Dee, and we get in a van and we're going on our way to the hotel, and the girl that picks us up asks us if neither one of us could understand. She said, would you like to go to the fish market? And we're like, what? And it's 6 a.m. and we've been on a flight for 14 hours, and she said, would you like to go to the fish market? What are you saying? And then someone else leans over and is like, she wants to know if you'd like to go to the fish market. I'm thinking, why do you want to go get fish?
That's 6 a.m.
And so we start working, we do this film, we get a wonderful rapport between us, and wonderful chemistry, and we just had so much fun. And yet, all I knew her from was that she was the mom in E.T. and amazing. I had no idea that she had such a wonderful, vast resume of these scary movies, and such a warm character that pops up in these movies that are freaking us out to kind of bring us back to some place of being able to not entirely freak out while watching the movie. And it was such an honor that I realized, I can't believe who I've been working with, and I had no idea, And so, to this day, I'm very thankful that I got to have Dee as my first on-screen girlfriend.
Who could actually be his mother.
No, not really.
Oh, yeah.
From the same part of the country.
Yeah. Anyway, shooting The Frighteners, everybody had a ball. Don't you think? Everybody. Jeffrey and everybody. Michael was just coming down with his illness and really didn't know what was wrong with him. So he pretty much stayed in his house.
He was not really around.
Well, I don't think he was physically able, and he was flying back and forth a lot to the doctors to see if they could figure out what was going on. But we just had a ball working with Peter. You have to understand, Peter Jackson's like a hobbit.
Yeah,
We were in the dead of winter, and he would come to the set in flip-flops, cutoffs, and a big old down jacket, and a big bushy beard. He had a lot more weight on him at that point than he does, and it was like working with a hobbit. And he's the sweetest, kindest, gentle, so gentle. I lost my husband during the filming of The Frighteners. And I had to fly back and forth 4 times across the country. He had a heart attack, and then I went back, and then he died, and I had to come home and bury him. And then I went back with my little girl and my nanny, and they just kept saying, don't worry about it, you can settle up at the end of the picture. And I went back in to settle up, and the bookkeeper said, no, Peter, wants, this is just his gift to you. He's taking care of all the flights. And let me tell you, that doesn't happen very often. You know, that tells you right there the kind of guy Peter is. Questions?
Yeah, well, you know, what's amazing is that when we did the film, Dee had this very cute 7-year-old daughter, and really a sweet kid. And then, you know, I run into a woman recently who's extremely attractive and bubbly and upbeat, and I guess last year, and she was like, "Hey, Jake, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm great." She goes, "It's me, it's Gabby." And I was like, "Holy cow!"
What are you doing tonight, honey?
Yeah, that was kind of the first thing that came to mind. I was like, "Oh, wait. Gotta be a gentleman here." And but
yeah,
no,
remember I killed a lot of people.
So, but she has become quite an accomplished film director, and she's just written a novel that is for sale at the moment, and it's
Eat,
quite
pray,
incredible.
FML.
Yeah.
Go get it, you'll love it.
Pray, fuck my life. It's I think a good learning lesson for everyone, something to relate to. But she's just an extraordinary kid. So not only a wonderful actress, but a hell of a mom. So.
It's my best role, for sure. You have a question?
Yeah, I just want to comment and then ask you a question. I think you're like one of the most underrated actresses in the industry. I don't think you get enough credit for
Thank you.
the broad work you've done.
Very sweet, I think.
I mean, because quite honestly, even E.T. or The Frighteners could have gotten you a nomination somewhere. But
you would think, wouldn't you? At least Cujo.
Yeah,
Jesus. Thank you.
What would you say? Has there ever been a movie you've been in that freaked you out while filming?
No. There were a couple of moments, but you have to understand when you're shooting them, you're seeing all the technicality that goes into everything. And the only moment that really kind of got to me, well, there were two. Somebody put blanks in the gun in the Howling during rehearsal and thought it would be really funny. And that was before all the stuff went down. Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing where you're in a rehearsal
Oh my
and
God.
you're expecting that you can pull the trigger and it's just going to drive it. It's just going to go click, click, you know. And so, you know, there's wadding that comes out of blanks, and it's like a lot of times they use quarter rounds, sometimes they use half rounds. Hopefully that person used a quarter round. My God, there was a kid named John Eric Hexum in the '80s, and he was destined to be the new Val Kilmer. He had been a daytime guy, and he did a movie with my dad, and he was like destined for stardom, just a handsome 27-year-old man. And this is, of course, before Brandon Lee and any of that stuff. This is kind of the first incident. And he was a movie actor, and he had done daytime TV, but now he got on to like something like a recurring TV series that was like a procedural thing. So there's a lot of actors, and like you maybe only work like 1 or 2 days a week, or you wind up doing one scene and then you sit for 13 hours, like, oh, we may need you later. I mean, it can be, you know, it's exciting that it's a TV show,
That's
but
really
it
what
can
they
be boring.
pay us for.
Yeah, it is. That's a good reminder. And so, you know, he was sitting on the set and kind of just bored to tears, and it was maybe weeks of not really doing much and anticlimactic for him. So he's bored, and someone says, "How you doing?" And he was like, boom, and it had a blank round in it. He pulled the trigger, and he was joking like, you know, kill me now, and it did. And so that's what Dee's talking about. That's really scary.
That was the first time. They lost me for about 3 hours because
Yeah.
I was already, you know, hyped up into the scene, into kind of La La Land, you know, where we have to go, and it went off in the car when we were rehearsing, and it just, I really kind of lost it for 3 hours. And the other time was in Cujo, where after I hit him with the bat, you know, and they have to put the dog on me. And the dogs are really well taken care of. I want everybody to know that. And the medic had sedated the dog, and they put this 130-pound dog on me. And Lewis, our director, says, "Can you lift him up and down now like you're..." So I'm bench pressing this dog, and the dog starts going, and I froze. He was up here and he's looking down at me going, and I'm going, he's not going to come awake, is he? There was a moment there where, because as gentle as these dogs were, to wake up and have somebody bench pressing you would have, you know, they would have reacted, right? But usually no. No, because it's just too technical what you're going through.
When you're making the show, you're not in any way involved in the narrative like you are when you watch the thing. There's no music going, there's no like moment before that you're physically seeing, you're not seeing a ramp. You're really just focusing on doing that scene for what it is, with a generalized awareness of what's been going on in the story you're in, but it's certainly not like the pinpoint, edge of your seat stuff that you get when you watch it. That's a lot is like, it looks different, you know, they do the color treatment on the film, like color correcting, they do, you know, they put film,
The music is a lot of
it's different colors, like, yeah, like when they shot Matrix, not everything was green, that's like After Effects. So it just looks like regular daytime. Like when we did Stranger Things, it just looks like this. It doesn't look like the Upside Down. It doesn't look like it does on the show because that's all done afterwards. So when you're doing it, you're not in a position to like get scared. How would you say it? I mean,
You're technically in the moment.
yeah.
I mean, you know, in my brain, like in Cujo when I broke the back of the glass, I wasn't supposed to be able to break the back of the glass. So, you know, they don't take into account the adrenaline that an actor gets up to do a scene. So I broke the glass and I didn't hear cut. So you're trained, if you don't hear cut, you just keep going. So this part of my brain is going, holy hell, I broke the glass, right? Now we rehearsed the whole scene, and this part of my brain's going, get the kid, the dog's coming. Wait a minute, the glass is broken. Get the kid. I can't, you know, drag the kid over the glass. Get the kid. So you see me do this stupid waddle because I was present enough not to drag Danny over the glass, but still so much Donna that I had to get, you know, the kid out, and we ran all the way up to the door, and then I hear cut, and then Dan Blatt, our producer, comes over and goes, oh my God, Dee, are you all right? And I ripped my arm up, going through the glass and everything. So they put an ace bandage on it, and Dan says, okay, I know you have to go to the hospital, but do you think we can do one more take first? Well, that was our last day on the ranch. Somebody over here had a question, like an hour ago. Okay, well, phased out. Back there.
Mr. Busey, I know this is probably not your favorite movie to have been in, but there's a scene where you play a violin. Do you actually know how to do that?
On the film he's talking about, for those of you who don't know, is Starship Troopers. Yeah, that was a good one, and I did that right after we finished up on The Frighteners. The interesting thing, you're making a film, you're making choices about what the characters do, you're writing a script, and you know, let's make these different characters have their own unique humanities to them, and So the director, Paul Verhoeven, his wife, Martine, is second chair in the Amsterdam, Netherlands, Dutch. It's such a confusing country with all the names. But it's like the Dutch Philharmonic. She's like big time violinist. Yeah. So I get the job, and then in a very matter-of-fact way, someone says to me, "Yeah, and you'll be starting your violin classes with Martina on Monday." So so that was crazy. So we were working out 5 days a week, and then 3 days a week I would go to Paul's house, Paul and Martine's house, and we would sit there in the morning having coffee and learning how to play these 3 songs on the violin.
So you're saying for that one scene,
About
they
6
taught you how
months.
to play?
And the funny thing is, on that line of thinking, when we shot it, and somebody says, "All right, okay, we got that. We'll check the gate. We're moving on, and that's a wrap on the violin for tonight." And I was like, "Wait, hold on a second. That's all that." Where's my coverage? That's it? That's all we're gonna shoot? Like, yeah, we got it. It was great. You know, they're dancing, and you gotta go by in the background. And I was like, what? I've been doing this for 6 months for this?
Yeah.
Like, I shaved my legs for this. So I was kind of blown away. I realized at the end of the day, like, it just adds to the authenticity of the film. And I knew what I was doing, and I was playing the song, and so it doesn't look like, one of my biggest pet peeves is you get music in a film, live music, and you see the band, and like, the drums are completely not doing what you're watching. So you're hearing the boom, pow, and the guy's sticks are like over here, and it doesn't match up. So they did that with the violin in a way that was extremely authentic, and it was worth it. And I can say I learned how to play the violin, but it's awful.
You can put it on your resume.
Yeah, it's really, and recently my daughter decided she wanted to start playing violin. She's 6, and I went over to an old friend of my dad's who's a violinist. He's a fiddle guy, and he's amazing. And so I picked up a violin last week for the first time in 30 years or whatever. And it was so strange because you have to hold it really in a very awkward, strange manner. And I couldn't make it make a good sound at all.
I played the violin for 12 years.
Oh, you did? So you really know, yeah.
Well, I used to. Yeah. It ain't the easiest instrument
It's
to
the
pick
one
up and
instrument in the
play.
world that does not want to sound good. It's like a cat.
Yeah.
So this question's for both of you. So I have 4 kids, they're absolutely crazy. What is it like being in a movie where the major focus is the children?
Well, I wouldn't have had a career. First of all, I love working with kids. I really love working with kids, especially if their frickin' mothers are not on the set. Because kids, they're just in the moment, and they're alive, and they're not worried, am I doing this right? They're just there, you know? And if you think about it, 2, 3, 4-year-olds, that's how they play. You know, I'm gonna be Peter Pan, now I'm the crocodile, now I'm gonna be Captain Hook. They don't think a thing about it, and then we grow up and it's all of a sudden the cure for cancer, right? So I have to say I've been extremely fortunate with the kids that I've worked with, and the dogs. And I just really love working with kids. I mean, dear God, I got up every day and thank God I got Danny Pintaro for Cujo. Kid was so phenomenal.
You know,
Anything to
there's-
add to that?
I love kids. I have a 7-year-old. As of July 30th, she'll be 7. I haven't worked with any kids though, and
Call me.
but some interesting things happen in life that you don't expect. And one of the first big movies I did was with the mom from E.T., and then the following year, I worked with Gertie from E.T. Yeah, we did a movie called Home Fries, and it has Drew and a guy named Luke Wilson and myself, and
Yeah, but I have to say,
so like a little.
when I took Gabrielle and my nanny back, the entire set, but especially Jake, just put their arms around her and played with her. They even built she said, "Mommy, I want to fly," because you know I fly in that one scene. See, this is why I do all these emotional parts. And they built a little rig for her, and you guys played Foursquare with her at lunch. Yeah, you were, and when she got older, you were always awesome with her. So you're probably a great dad. Jess?
I have a question. You were in a movie that I think is underrated, overlooked, unfortunately called Bounty Killer. And Gary Busey was also in that movie. I was just wondering how it came about that you started that.
Oh, that's cool. We get to do it. There's maybe a reason she doesn't.
Give me a hint. What did I do? Look, guys, I just surpassed my 200th film.
Wow.
I seriously don't remember a lot of them.
Well, I'm not as old as I used to be. I might be getting movies confused, but you played a bartender.
Oh,
Am I got the wrong movie?
maybe not. Maybe not. I've played some pretty juicy bartenders. I'm not only E.T.'s mom, you know. Just saying. Well, I'm glad I got to work with it. I think I've only worked with your dad once, though. I've done some cons with him, but I've only worked with him once. I guess so. Sorry. I'll go Google it. Look, and half the films that I do, we do it under a working title, and then they retitle it, and somebody will bring me a poster from it and go, "What the hell is this?" And then I look at the poster and go, "Oh, they must you know, they never tell you. They just put it out under a new title. Like, E.T. was a boy's life. Oh, yeah, there was all this kind of secrecy around it, you know, because people were stealing things right and left back then. So we had to wear badges. Literally, one day I went off and forgot my badge. They wouldn't let me on the set. I'm serious. They would not let me on the set until Stephen okayed it, because but I had to go over to the studio behind locked doors and read the script to see if I wanted to do the script, right? So, I mean, it was a boy's life. None of us knew what it was going to be entitled when it came out. So.
I got to experience a little bit of that this last year. Stranger Things, they changed their name, their working title every season.
Yeah.
And so I was working on Lake Ridge. I wasn't working on Stranger Things. They'll change it for season 5.
I want to do Stranger Things. It's all based on E.T., for God's sake. Write in! Everybody write in!
I'm waiting for them to get the bikes to fly with the bikes.
Yeah, I mean, all the flashlight scenes and the whole thing. It's like, duh! You know? Questions? Yeah.
Tell us about the new Critters movie.
The new Critters movie is a lot of fun. It's not a remake, it's a reboot. A lot of young kids in it, and I don't know how to explain this to you. I play the same part, except now I'm called Aunt Dee and not Helen. I think maybe it was a legal thing between all the, I don't know. But anyway, but I get to play a bounty hunter. I got a new great shot on my table from it. And I loved it because, you know, I didn't want to play a farm wife again. And when I got the script, I was really pleasantly surprised. And I guess the critters have eaten and killed all my family, so now I look like this nice lady who goes out and blows them all away. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like the Frighteners, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So you play a lot of motherly characters?
You think?
Occasionally you get to play the bad guy, the villain, or Salem and Frighteners. Do you have a preference? Like, do you really enjoy getting to play the villain once in a while?
Yes, I do. I just like a great emotional ride. I like to play arcs, and I like to play a lot of emotion. And so anything that fits in there, I'm happy. That's why I think I gravitate toward the horror genre so much, because it gives me an opportunity to play all that. I mean, I'm really good at comedy, but to have a career where I would just be doing comedy would bore the shit out of me. Truly. You?
I don't know. I like them both, but I think in my old age, I'm starting to not like being covered in latex and sticky blood and all that. Rather just, you know, come in and be funny and bail. But like, I don't really get that opportunity too much. I've been this past year, I've been needing to come out of a bit of a lull, and in order to do that, you kind of have to do what I call going to the cookie jar. It's like those things that we've somehow become most noticed for, or most appreciated for, even if it's not necessarily your favorite thing. But
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of what.
Give them what they want.
Give them what they want. Yeah. So I've had to do that this last year in order to have the Predator, Stranger Things, and the Swamp Thing, and LA's Finest, and all these things that are out this year. So hopefully I'll be able to get back to doing more of a variety. But I've been like the jerk and the bad guy and the psycho guy for a good year. I'm ready for some fun.
Yeah.
Girls, you know.
We get bored doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, back there.
Hi.
Hi.
First off, pleasure to meet both of you.
Thank you.
Dee, can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming role in Free from Hell?
Yes, please, tell me.
Well, for all Rob Zombie fans, you will not be disappointed in this film. It is a classic Rob Zombie gore. And if you see the picture on my table, you won't recognize me until I start talking. I walked right by Sid and Bill Moseley on the set and went, "Hey guys," and they went, I said, "It's Dee," and Sid said, "Shit, I would have known you till you talked." So, you know, but, no, you would not, no, look at the picture.
From Sid's point of view. It's a little different.
So ugly. So I think it's the ugliest part I've ever played. But I called Rob and I said, "Rob, I can't see me doing this part with my perky blonde hair." And there was a pause, like, this is what Rob always says. "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm gonna dye it really like dark brown, and I want to part it down the middle and make it real severe." "Okay." I mean, he just, Rob's this great combination that most actors love, of a director that knows exactly what he wants and gives you the freedom to bring in all your weirdest shit. And for an actor, that, for me anyway, that's freedom. That's like, But like I said, I would be driving home going, "Oh my God, I didn't really do that, did I?" Because you just start playing and you do the most bizarre fucking things. Yeah, I really crossed the line several times in this film. Oh, God, yeah.
But,
He's the greatest guy. And, you know, when we were doing Halloween together, we were waiting for a shot to get set up, and I said, so what's your favorite film this year? And he said, Little Miss Sunshine. I said, Rob, don't tell anybody. Your whole cover will be gone. But, you know, Sherry brings him his health food shake and his vitamins every morning. They're just so cute together. I love both of them. Love both of them. In the back. No, you.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you talk about knowing each other from another movie and all that. Who have either of you or both of you met, like on film, like in working in a film, that you still talk to today or has like become a really good friend, other than saying each other?
I still work out with Casper Van Dien. He was the other guy in Starship. I continue to work with Denise Richards a lot, and it's kind of strange. Every couple of years we do another project together. Who else? Lou Temple. Lou Temple, speaking of Rob Zombie. Lou's a good buddy of mine. We work on stuff all the time together. I don't know. I have a good friend of mine who's an actor that you really probably wouldn't know him. He's a TV guy. He was on that Third Watch show. His name's Jason Wiles. They played a cop on the side of Michael Beach. He and I are really good friends. So yeah, I can say I've maintained some friendship. Not a lot, considering 130 movies and 20 TV series. Like I can name 4 or 5 people. So it's a traveling circus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tents, and you may be in one tent or another tent, and as much as you may want to maintain communication, it really becomes more about texting or a little halo or a little congrats. I saw that.
Tyne Daly and I literally tried to have lunch for a year between our schedules. You know, but the 2 people that came up for me when you asked that was Dudley Moore, whom and Tim Curry. And then, of course, my husband, Christopher Stone, that I worked with in so many things with. And Dudley and Chris are gone. And I don't know if you guys knew that Tim had a pretty severe stroke. But he's out performing. He's out performing at the clubs and stuff. Yeah, you can't hold a good actor down. You had a question up here.
Yeah, Jake, yesterday you shared a story with me. I wonder if you would share with the rest. I told you I was an extra in Contact.
Right.
And you told me a story about how somebody thought you were that character, and for real.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. Quick request. Can I grab the smoothie? Yeah. Thanks, brother. It's Derek, ladies and gentlemen. Derek. I've been on a pretty intense training regimen for the last year, and so I'm kind of living on a liquid diet of protein shakes and organic food. So that's my version of a cheeseburger and fries these days. The berry smoothie. So to answer that, yeah, I've definitely had a lot of people who think that I am a character that I've played. And recently with Stranger Things, I didn't realize this would happen, but there was I made the mistake of like searching the hashtag of my name on Twitter just to see what people were saying on the 3rd day. It was devastating, you know, like, Jake Busey's such an asshole. I just want to punch that guy in the face. And it's like,
It's weird.
guys, it's a job, it's a craft, it's an art, it's not, you know.
It gets confusing for some people.
Yeah, and we're not like Instagram influencers. It's not us. It's characters we're playing. And that's really, I think, confused an entire generation with reality shows and all that. People are actually growing up with that being already a part of the cultural fabric. So they just think, they don't realize that it's pretend, but you just play like you're not pretending. So That was rough.
Say that again. We play like we're not pretending.
We pretend, but we play like we're not.
Oh, you gotta quote that somewhere. That's great.
Well,
Next hashtag.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, that's something I was reminded. I said that when I was 5, when I was on my first movie, which was Dustin Hoffman's pet project, Straight Time, and my dad was like the failed getaway driver.
Yeah.
So Dustin, the movie opens with him getting out of prison for being a jewel thief. He got busted because my dad left him. So the first thing he does is make a beeline for our house. Kathy Bates played my mom. And so we have this dinner in the kitchen. And he's like super friendly with the family. Good thing Max is out of jail kind of thing. He says, yeah, you know. So I have a big scene. That's my first scene in a movie. And after dinner, he says, yeah, I want to talk to your dad. We're going to go outside to the garage. And we go outside and talk for a minute. And cuts back inside the house. See Kathy washing the dishes, and then you hear, and Dustin takes out my dad. That was his revenge. So they put me in the movie to really give, I guess, more sympathy for my dad's character. I'm like, oh man, I shot this guy. The guy's got a kid.
Yeah, it's always worse if there's a kid.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And you had that line?
I had said, my dad, I guess Dustin asked me, what do you think about acting? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'd really dig it that much, because you pretend, but then you play like you're not pretending.
That is such a genius line.
And my
You have
dad's
to
quoted
remember
it.
that.
Like my dad, that's his, like he's used that quote for.
Well, I can see why. I'm going to use it now.
Feel free. It was from the genius of a 5-year-old brain. Yeah, but there, you know, it is really true, and we're not the characters that we portray.
Although sometimes we get close.
Sometimes you get close with certain roles, but I can guarantee you and assure you that I'm really not very close at all to the role I played in Stranger Things.
But I am pretty close to Mom and E.T.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I realized it last night. We were watching a little piece of South Park before falling asleep, and the two of the boys, Cartman and Stan. Cartman convinces Stan to take his uncle's super fast boat out on the lake, and they crash it, and they destroy a beaver dam that wipes out the whole town. And the whole time Cartman's like, yeah, fuck those people, doesn't matter anyway. And I was like, oh my God, I was like the grown-up 3D version of Eric Cartman in Stranger Things. And then I was like, okay, cool, all right, I can tolerate this. Characters next.
Questions, huh? Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have done a lot of like on stage like theater kind of work, but like I grew up in theater. There was this big discussion on like stage acting being harder than movie acting. What do you guys think?
Hell yes. Way harder, I think. First of all, you're freaked out that you're not going to remember the lines.
Yeah.
You know, on camera, you can go, and I fucked that one up, let's go again. And you don't have the pressure on you, even though you really strive not to because it breaks the flow. But yeah, and to rehearse something for 6, 7, 8 weeks, it doesn't rock my boat. I've done a lot of theater. But I sure prefer just being in the moment. I don't like to do stuff for a long time. I get bored.
But there's that balance, though. It's what's the joy. Remember the joy.
Well, the joy sure is being in front of a live audience.
And getting immediate gratification.
I always get immediate gratification.
Well said, well put. Well, that's for me. Like I grew up on film sets. The only theater I really ever did was like school plays, and so my whole reality has been film sets for almost 50 years, and so that's where my comfort level is. And exactly what Dee said. you really only have to memorize maybe 3 to 6 pages at a pop, and you're gonna do it, and then you're gonna start over and you're gonna do it again, and you're gonna start over and you're gonna do it again, and then in that time, you're honing it to, hopefully, to close to perfection, and then when it's shot, and when you move on, you've got a really great piece that's been hyper-focused on and really done with precision, and then you move on. Whereas a play, it is more broad brush strokes. You are learning the entire play, and you're doing it for 6 or 7 weeks because you have to for it to become second nature, so that you don't blow the lines. And I got to experience it doing a sitcom. And I realized, oh shit, sitcoms are live theater.
Yeah.
It's sitcoms of
But only for a
3 to
week.
5 night play, yeah. And you have a week to rehearse it. It's such a kickback schedule. And it's so great because if it's a good show and the audience is really into it,
Yeah.
really laughing, it's
Yeah.
like,
You have the
oh
best
my
of both
God,
worlds.
I made people laugh, and it really feels
Yeah.
great. And it is the best of both worlds because you don't, like with movies, you can actually, it's frowned upon, and like Dee said earlier, you just power through it if you screw up. But sometimes if it's like you're close up and you're not worrying about anyone else, messing up anyone else's good take, it's just you can be like, okay, and just go back one line and they'll cut it anyway. And certainly with theater you don't do that. And with sitcoms, you will just power through it, and then after they let the audience go home, they'll at 1 in the morning, then on Friday night, then they'll just shoot the pieces
Yeah.
and stuff. So
You think we lead an easy life.
it's seems like a dreamland fairy tale, but there's a lot of work.
A lot of work,
It's
a lot of waiting too.
and very little sleep, and you have to be very flexible, and
A lot of hurry up and wait.
a lot of
Oh,
18-hour
good God.
days. That's like just a normal work day. And I got
Well, it is in this country. It isn't necessarily in Europe.
really.
Well,
Well, they
when we
did the
were on the
French hour thing, the
Frighteners,
10-hour days.
they were, when we did the Frighteners, it was really,
I was too
10
young and
hours and
excited
you're
to pay
out.
attention.
We were out.
That was such a fun experience.
Yeah.
Mike hurt his ankle. I don't know. I thought it was.
Michael J. Fox?
Yeah. I thought it was like part of the Parkinson's thing coming on. But we had 2 weeks off. And that was, I don't know if you were on the phone at that point or not.
It's all fog to me.
Yeah, it's a while back. My girlfriend came down and we did a road trip. We did 2 weeks of a road trip around New Zealand. We did two different ones. We did the South Island, then we did the North Island, because Mike was.
Well, one of
ankle
that was when we first got down there.
Right.
And we had just arrived, and they decided to rewrite the script.
Oh, right.
Remember? And so they said, "Gosh, would you like would you like to take your kid and your nanny on a trip? We'll pay for a trip around Australia." And I went, "Let me think. Okay."
Where was your trip?
We went down through the South Island and Queensland and all that.
Right. Okay. Trying to think because there was one. I don't know if that was the time because there was 2 moments during the shoot.
I bet
Few
the
months.
other time was when I had to come home for Chris's funeral
Right.
because they were trying to figure out, they didn't think I'd ever be back.
Oh, I remember they had that before.
And they were trying to figure out how to shoot around me and shoot the character from the back and,
Yeah. We went to Fiji.
Well, damn.
It was funny because I brought all my snowboarding gear and they said, okay, you got 10 days off. And there I am in the production office with all the gals running the show. And I said, oh, this is great. I got all my snowboard gear. Can you book me some flights? We want to go down to the South Island. I want to snowboard on the Alps down there. And she kind of took a deep breath. Victoria.
Oh my God, how do you remember that name?
Check your shirt. She took a deep breath and she goes, let me work on that for you. Later on the day, I go home and I get a phone call and she says, we're thinking about the trip for your time off, and how would you like to take April and go to Fiji or Vanuatu for 10 days? And I was like, oh wow, that's a cool idea. And it wasn't until like after we shot the movie that I realized they didn't want me to hurt myself so much. And they paid for a trip to Fiji to keep me from doing it. Peter's
Very smart.
yeah. So that was a great movie to shoot.
It was, yeah.
We got time
How
for
much
one
would you
quick.
say that a director kind of controls whether or not you feel your best performances get seen in the film?
You have no control of that. All you can do is collaborate on the day and hope that you get to that point that you want to be with the character, but then even within that, there will be a take where you feel like, oh yeah, that number 3, that was the one. That's the one that we use. And then you see the rough cut, and you do ADR work, and you're like, oh shit, they used take 5. They didn't use
I always say, guys, if I have anything to say, it would be number 3. I always put it out there, you know, but you have to understand, like on 10, the first cut of 10 was 4 hours and 35 minutes. And the first cut of ET was over 3 hours. So there's huge chunks of stuff that get dropped. That doesn't surprise me. We shot 7. And so they narrow it, and it's nothing personal, it's just some kind of everybody's stuff has to get dropped.
Well, poor John Aston.
Had a lot of stuff.
John Aston had a phenomenal character as the judge with his dog, and he had come up with so much great stuff. With how him and his dog were, and what they were doing, and chasing the bone, but then the bone's actually his foot, and all this stuff, you know. And he shot for, God, I think before we even got there, he shot for like a month, doing a lot of blue screen stuff, and they used an 1/8 of what he did. And I think he had been around and he'd worked enough that it didn't really hurt him. He's like, use what they want to use. But
Yeah, after you've been doing it now, as long as we've been doing it, we understand that too.
yeah.
You just can't take anything personal in this business, nothing. Yeah.
I hate to do it, guys. We gotta go. It's time.
Alrighty.
Getting that look from you together.
Thanks for coming in and talking with